Om Shri Sai Ram, Dharma Vahini by Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba, Chapter 9. All are entitled to the heritage of Brahma Vidya. Low-born and high-born, poor and rich, female and male, all are affected by illness, is it not? All have the right to take the medicines that cure illness, is it not? So too, all people are affected by the illness of Bhavaroga or the birth and death cycle, and all have the right to the drug named Brahma Vidya or the knowledge of Brahman, which is its effective cure. All are entitled to the heritage of Brahma Vidya. According to the power of acquisition, each would procure and consume the medicine for their respective illness. Likewise, each sadhaka or spiritual aspirant would reach their respective stage as per their affordability, called eligibility or qualification, to consume medicines like various spiritual practices. But here, one thing has to be specially noted. Along with the medicine, Pathyam or the regimen dietary restrictions also have to be strictly adhered to, isn't it? So too, along with the spiritual drug of Brahma Bhavana, contemplation of Brahman, the aspirant of Brahma Vidya has to observe dharma or the prescribed conduct and cultivate qualities such as bhakti or devotion, jnana or wisdom, and vairagya or detachment as spiritual pathyam. The one who consumes the drug but does not follow pathyam cannot be free from the illness. So also mere Brahmopadesham initiation, that is into sacred knowledge of Brahman, is not enough. Without observing dharma, prescribed conduct that is properly, and without cultivating qualities such as sama or control of mind, dhamma, keeping the senses under control, etc., no one, be he emperor or bondman, high power or low born, can become free from the illness of Bhavaroga or birth and death cycle. He is the source and the spring of mercy, grace and benevolence. So, in order to get the drug for the illness of Bhavaroga, either one should have got some merits from the past births or should have acquired necessary qualifications now in this birth. Now, there is one compelling issue. Are women entitled to Brahma Vidya? This question has been answered above. If women do not deserve this knowledge, how did Lord Vishnu teach Bhudevi the glory of the Gita? Also, as per Guru Gita, how did Lord Parmeshwara teach Parvati Devi the sacred knowledge of Brahman? Dharo Vocha or the Dhara spoke of Bhagavad Gita, and Parvatyuvacha or the Parvati spoke of Guru Gita are well known, is it not? Why didn't Ishvara teach Yoga Shastra or the knowledge about eightfold discipline, and Mantra Shastra, knowledge about mystical sounds, to Parvati Devi? This must therefore be authorized by the Shastras or scriptures, is it not? In the Bhadra Nayaka Upanishad, it is mentioned that Yajnavalkya taught Brahma Vidya to Maitreyi. The Vedas consists of two parts: Karma Kanda, the portion on ceremonial acts and sacrificial rites for common man or Agyanis or ignorance, and Jnana Kanda, the portion on spiritual wisdom for Vigyanis or the wise. There are two kinds of Vakyas or statements. those by Pandits or scholars who merely studied the Shastras or scriptures, and those by Vidwans or wise ones coming out of their experiential knowledge. Of these, the words of such noble ones who are the knowers of the Atma, who have given up all the idea of doership as a result of their realization of the non-duality or unity of Brahman and Atma, who know and feel that the same Atma is inherent in the entire multiplicity of life, who have lost all distinction between mine and thine, who seek the welfare of all animate and inanimate creation, are true and genuine. In the Brihadranayaka Upanishad, there is a mention of such effulgent women sages as Gargi and Maitreyi, who practiced brahmacharya or chastity, sannyasa or renunciation, and other spiritual virtues. And in the Mahabharata, the splendorous life histories of ideal women such as Sulabha, Yogini are found. However, women should first try to understand the moral rectitude and the steadfastness of those ideal women, and then walk on that path, and then only does the question of reaching that stage of acquiring Brahma Vidya arise. Chudala, Madalasa and other such ideal women acquired Brahma Jnanam or knowledge of Brahman, being in the Grihastha ashram or the householder stage of life itself, and attained that eternal unequaled auspicious Brahman. This is made clear in the Yoga Vashishta and also in the Puranas. Doubts like the above will haunt only those who have not studied the Shastras or scriptures properly. If the women who are in the Brahmacharya ashram or the student stage follow the footsteps of Gargi, those in the Grihastha ashram or the householder stage follow the footsteps of Chudala, those in the Vanaprastha ashram or forest dweller stage follow the footsteps of Maitreyi, and those in the sannyasa ashram or the renunciate stage follow the steps of Sulabha Yogini. Pure-heartedly, they will not budge from the practice of their respective dharmas. All women should strive to follow this first. The Acharya or the spiritual guide who teaches by being an example is 10 times more worthy than the teacher who imparts worldly education. The father is 100 times worthier than the Acharya. The mother is 1,000 times worthier and revered than the father. This is the declaration of Manu in the law text Manu Smriti. Manu Smriti is the binding text for all scriptures on dharma. It is the very basis. See what a great honor it pays to the mother. Goddess Lakshmi, the patron of wealth, is a female deity. When addressing letters to women, it is customary to begin to Lakshmi Samana, to the one who is equivalent to Lakshmi in every way. Women are entitled to universal respect. Do not forget this fact about women. Why the Avatara Purushas or incarnations like Rama and Krishna, Mata, Pravaktas or religious teachers like Adi Shankara, Ramanuja and Madhava, Jnana, Sampanulu and Muhammad, were they not all born of women? Their mothers are the embodiments of Mahashakti or divine power, as they are responsible for the emergence of such great noble propounders of truth. Every woman who follows the footsteps of such noble mothers, virtuous character, practice of regular duties, and prescribed code of conduct and who leads pure, consecrated lives qualifies for Brahma Jnanam or knowledge of Brahman. And no one can deny it. So, without adhering to such prescribed pathyam or regimen, how can one be free from the illness? In fact, the Atma is devoid of all gender differences. It is Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Swayam Jyoti, that is eternal, pure, awakened, liberated, and self-illuminating. Women can reach the status of those holy mothers only when they become aware of this nature of the Atma. The patron deities Saraswati of Vidya, that is education, Lakshmi of Dhana or wealth, and Parvati of Jnana or wisdom are all women. Because of not being aware of this truth, many believe that women are not entitled to Brahma Tattvam or the knowledge of Brahman. Brahma Upasana or the contemplation on Brahma, Moksha, Samragyam or the kingdom of salvation, and Brahmacharya Vratam or the vow of chastity. They may not be entitled to some other things, but are definitely entitled to all these. A lion asleep is unaware of its might, so too man asleep in the coils of Maya or delusion is not aware of his being the splendorous and powerful Atma. In this stage of ignorance, he elaborates more on his prejudices and he gives into his likes and says it as the declaration of Shastras or scriptures. The scriptures will not declare so at any time. Shastra is like a netram or eye to mankind. It leads, illumines and guides. Follow its directions. That is the primary duty of man. That is the big task that needs to be accomplished in the world today. If the scriptures are fully understood, no doubts will arise, no discussions will be needed. It is neither proper to select and superimpose on the scriptures things that you feel congenial to you, nor should you go against the injunctions of the scriptures. Even to challenge them and talk lightly of the commands is sinful. Such a person is prone to do more sinful acts. So, never go against the injunctions of the scriptures. It is sinful even to entertain such thoughts. The world has come to this sorry state mainly because of the scriptures have been neglected in practice and also due to the lack of unflinching faith in them. This is the tragedy, the moral fall. The one who does not possess the necessary characteristics of Brahmagyani or the knower of Brahman as mentioned in the scriptures must first practice the rules and restrictions prescribed in the scriptures and perform the deeds that are allowed by the scriptures, and only then strive for moksha or liberation. Devoid of this Brahma Jnanam or knowledge of Brahman, mere scholarship acquired by laborious pursuit of the scriptures is just so much exhausting burden which does not yield any happiness. Those ones who practice mere scholarship without being aware of its essence are like spoons that spin in sweets and savories but do not taste them. The Mundaka Upanishad has compared scholars who have not assimilated the essence of the scriptures but to guide others in spite of their own ignorance, to the blind leading the blind, with the result that both the leader and the led fall into the well. Even without the knowledge of the scriptures, if you have the experiential Atma Jnanam or self-knowledge, you can attain mukti or liberation through that means and lead others also the path you have become familiar with. A jnani or dull or ignorant finds the need for scriptures Whereas the holy person who is immersed always and under all condition in Atma Nishtha, or the contemplation of Atma, and Ishvara Dhyanam, or meditation of the Lord, has no need for scriptures. Of course, you may face some obstacles or difficulties at the beginning when you start doing good deeds and strictly adhering to dharma, but having in view the bliss that awaits you in the end, you have to put up with all that and bear them gladly. Only the Buddhiman or the wise can liberate themselves by knowing this truth. The rest will remain bound by following into sinful ways. The yugas or ages are classified on the basis of the dominant role of the mind. That is why, in general, it is said the first of the 4 ages, or the Treta Yuga, essentially has dharma sustaining with 4 quarters or paths. The second age, Treta Yuga, consists of dharma sustaining with 3 quarters. The third stage, Dwapara Yuga, has dharma sustaining with just 2 quarters. And the fourth age, Kali Yuga, has dharma sustains with only 1 quarter. Here the quarters are paths, are attributes. Here the quarters or paths are attributes. The 4 quarters are Satya or truth, Daya, compassion, Tapas, austerity, and Dana, giving alms or charity. If one has all these 4, then such noble ones can be said to be in the Treta Yuga or the Golden Age. Whatever may be the Yuga or the age in the calendar, whatever may be the age in the calendar, if truthfulness is not steady in a person, but if he has the other 3 qualities, he belongs to the Treta Yuga. Regardless of the Yuga he is physically in, if truthfulness and compassion are both absent, but if tapas and dana persist, individuals who are in the predicament can be said to be in the Dwapar Yuga. If, however, only dana remains out of the 4, that person is said to be in the Kali Yuga, even if he is existing in any of the other ages. The yugas you belong to change only with a change in these 4 attributes of dharma, not with the mere passage of time. From this, it is evident that the change of yuga or age depends on dharma. So dharma is the adhara or the support, and adheya to be supported entity for everything. The guna or the value or merit of a person varies according to dharma only. The wicked Hiranyakashipu and the highly virtuous Prahlada both lived in the self-same yuga, the Krata Yuga. The same Dwapar Yuga saw Dharmaraja, the personification of righteousness and peace, as well as the arch-cheat Duryodhana. If all the yugas exist separately, then the above-mentioned personalities would have been born in their respective yugas and conducted or behaved accordingly. So, dharma is what makes the yuga for each. Dharma is the basis for everything. One can always be in the Krita Yuga or the Golden Age if one only grasps and behaves according to all 4 qualities of dharma mentioned above. Therefore, it is the pravartana or the conduct or behavior of man that causes the changes to yuga and dharma and gives rise to all kinds of false impressions. Jai Sai Ram.
Saishwaraya vidmahe Satyadevaya dhimahi Tanna sarva prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya vidmahe Satyadevaya dhimahi तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ